Luvuyo, was this a bit of a shock for the NPA?
We never anticipated. We only had yesterday that he had a meeting with his DPP advocate Sibongile Mzinyati, where he indicated that he is resigning to pursue other interests outside the NPA.
Has the NPA made any attempt to talk him out of doing this?
His manager, that is Advocate Mzinyati, would have engaged with him. I'm not privy to those deliberations, but what I got from him was that he has resigned. With immediate effect today, he's leaving the institution.
This must be quite a blow for the NPA, considering, he was involved in the Salibi prosecution, of course, Oscar Pistorius. He is probably the most famous prosecutor in South Africa.
Karyn, although it is really undesirable to lose a prosecutor of that caliber, however, the NPA will not be paralyzed by his departure. We've got a pool of highly experienced prosecutors to call on to take on the highly complex cases that we might encounter in the future.
There's confirmation that he's joining this private prosecution unit for AfriForum, and the suggestion is very much that he may not have been able to pursue those kind of political prosecutions in the NPA. What do you say about that?
I've seen conflicting reports about that. Up until they confirm, I've seen reports saying that they're setting up a private prosecution and a private investigation. But I can assure you, the Constitution is very clear. There is only one single national prosecuting authority that is entrusted with the responsibility of prosecuting on behalf of the state. You can only pursue private prosecutions in terms of Section 7 and 8 of the Criminal Procedure Act once the NPA has declined to prosecute and has issued a nolle prosequi certificate on application by the interested party. Without the certificate, nobody can pursue any private prosecution.
There are obviously going to be people who are going to take this as a reflection on the National Prosecuting Authority and, why this individual couldn't stay in your office for the next 5 years until he retired. Do you believe that this is any way a reflection on the integrity of the NPA as an organization?
It has no bearing whatsoever on the integrity of the institution. We cannot keep people in perpetuity. People come and go. Once you firmly believe that you've received an offer that you cannot resist, why not leave? That is why whenever a person is handling a matter, we always have a team of prosecutors to ensure that there's continuity. In the case of Mr. Nel, in the Pistorius matter, he had 3 prosecutors, senior deputy advocate Johnson and a senior state advocate. That was designed to ensure that there's continuity whenever the lead prosecutor leaves or something happens to him. There's somebody to take over that prosecution to ensure that justice is delivered to the people of this country.
So there's going to be no adverse implications for the cases he's currently involved in?
We've got a pool of highly experienced prosecutors. The DPP in Pretoria is spoiled for choice in terms of saying whether those teams, the team that was with Advocate Nel in those matters continues or he adds a senior somebody to lead those prosecutions. That is within his discretion. It is his call. We are not involved as the head office.
Finally, Luvuyo, does the NPA think it did enough to reward and Gerrie Nel for the work that he did do and make sure that he stayed? Because clearly he's a very experienced, competent person, and this is going to be taken as a reflection on the NPA that you weren't able to keep him.
We need to dispel the notion that we've got only one competent prosecutor in the NPA. The challenge is that a prosecutor who's profiled by the media, the narrative is that he's the most competent. We've got competent, highly experienced and skilled prosecutors who are delivering convictions day in and day out. But because the media is not profiling them, a perception will be created that the NPA will be paralyzed by his departure. That is not the case. Our work continues. Prosecutors will deliver justice to the people of this country.
So there's no bad blood between the NPA and Gerrie Nel?
He's an absolute professional. He a dedicated prosecutor who has mentored a lot of prosecutors who are now very senior within the ranks of NPA and who are ready to take over the mantle from him. We commend him for that sterling work that he has done for the institution.